Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into the built-in expert consultants for the two biggest cloud platforms out there, AWS Trusted Advisor and Azure Advisor. We're going to look at how they're similar, where they're really different, and the unique strengths each one brings to the table. Okay, so let's just get right into it. If you've ever managed a cloud environment, you know it gets complex fast. You've got thousands, maybe even millions of components, virtual machines, storage, networks, you name it. And the big question, the one that keeps people up at night is all of this stuff optimized? Are you following best practices for cost, for security, for performance? Trying to check that manually? It's basically impossible. And that's exactly where these services come in. You can think of AWS Trusted Advisor and Azure Advisor as your own native co-pilots for the cloud. They're designed to constantly scan your entire environment and give you guidance, actual advice on how to make things better. So what are these things really? Well, at their core, they're what we call a cloud advisor service. They look at your specific setup, how you're using everything, and then they compare it against a huge library of established best practices. Think of things like the AWS well-architected framework. The whole point is to give you recommendations that you can actually act on. So what are these best practices based on? Well, it turns out both services are built on a really similar foundation of core principles. We can think of them as the pillars of cloud optimization. Let's see how they stack up against each other.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Right off the bat, you can see how much they have in common. Cost, performance, security. They're pretty much a one-to-one match. But look closely at the differences. AWS focuses on fault tolerance and service limits, which is very much about infrastructure resilience and making sure you don't hit technical caps. Azure, on the other hand, calls it reliability and operational excellence, which is a slightly broader way of looking at the same ideas, but also includes things like process and workflow efficiency. So similar goals, just slightly different philosophies.
All right, let's get into what is, honestly, probably the single biggest difference between these two services. We need to talk about how you get access to them and, what they're going to cost you. So here's the billion-dollar question, right? You're getting all this expert advice, but is it free? Or does it come with a hefty price tag? This is where AWS and Azure take completely different paths. And this slide says it all. It is a fundamental difference. With Azure Advisor, you get the whole thing, all the recommendations, all the features, included with your subscription at no extra cost. It's just part of the platform. AWS takes a different approach. They give you some core security and service limit checks for free, which is great, but the full set of checks, especially the really juicy ones for cost optimization and performance, are reserved for customers who are already paying for a business or enterprise support plan. Okay, so beyond the core pillars and the pricing, each service has some really unique features that honestly show off the personality of their parent company. This is where you see what each platform really values. For its premium customers, AWS really leans into the advisor part of the name. They do this by adding a layer of actual human expertise right on top of all the automated checks. It's a feature called Trusted Advisor Priority, and it's for those enterprise support customers. And what it means is your technical account manager, a real person you know, can actually curate and prioritize recommendations for you. They know your business goals, maybe you've got a huge product launch coming up, and they can provide context that a simple automated scan just can't. It's a very high-touch approach. Now, Azure goes in a completely different direction. Their philosophy is all about making the advisor a deeply integrated, data-driven, and automated toolkit that empowers you to manage optimization at a massive scale. And their features really reflect this. You've got the advisor score, which is kind of like a credit score for your cloud's health. It gives you a single number to track. Then there's Quick Fix, which lets you fix a problem across tons of resources with just a couple of clicks. It's a huge time saver. And maybe the most powerful feature for developers and ops teams is the integration with Azure Resource Graph. It lets you write complex queries across all recommendations, which is an absolute game changer for automation. So when you step back and look at the whole picture, you see that both services are trying to get you to the same place, a well-run, optimized cloud. But they represent two very different philosophies on how to get you there. This table really brings it all home. On one side, you have AWS Trusted Advisor, which is positioned as this premium expert augmented guidance service. It's perfect for companies that really value that human-curated context. On the other side, you have Azure Advisor. It's an incredibly powerful, data-driven toolkit that's built in and free for everyone, designed from the ground up to be used at scale. So at the end of the day, there isn't a winner here. It's really about which philosophy fits your team and your company's culture. Are you looking for a premium, consultative relationship with your cloud provider? Or do you want a powerful, free, and scalable toolkit that empowers your own teams to drive optimization with data and automation? Understanding that distinction is everything. And that's our explainer for today.